Once again,
Loud and proud.
I got Jammer in the building again.
Mhm,
Thank you, thank you, thank
mhm.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
For those of you who don't know, welcome to Relationship Realities with your host, Texas Brown Sugar. And I am very fortunate enough to have my co host, Jammer, once again. He is
Again.
rocking it. Love him, love him. He is my brother.
Hmm.
He just you were just on live yesterday on Fresh Out
Yesterday.
podcast
It felt like it was
yesterday,
2 days
and
ago.
I heard y'all
Almost.
had a guest in the building. I
Had a guest
missed
in
it. I apologize. Children,
listen,
husband, life be
family,
life,
all
but
that.
I definitely caught the replay, and yeah, that was a dope
It
podcast
was a
we
good
had
one.
yesterday.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, for those of you who don't know, in this space, we dig deep, we laugh hard, and we get real about relationships,
Hmm.
building strong, healthy marriages. Tonight, we have a couple of reactions to some interesting videos.
Very interesting.
But before we get into the videos, of course, we need to pause for the cause. Um, Today's sponsor is definitely BIA Insurance. Whatever your insurance needs be, whether they be personal or business, please make sure you check out Bowie Insurance Agency, and their link is in the description. Get a free quote today. Now, we always are, you know, want to encourage you to take a look and check out the creators that we will feature tonight. In the description, I have their links to their pages, and go again. Getting up here on stage is not easy, and I'm
Mhm.
sure it wasn't easy for them. Go support them, check them out. Again, their let's say it hashtags, their handles are in the description. First up, um, this it's this video is quite interesting because I was having the same thought process myself, and let's check out what this one's talking about today.
Trying you go on little dates and stuff. Nowadays, the girls act like guys. They be young men. And then the guys act like girls. They be sassy and everything else. My sister was talking to somebody or whatever. He was just asking for too much, but not having nothing. So she made a statement like, the men that likes me, I never have to reach into my wallet. And then he said me too. Nowadays, guys want tricks too.
Wait,
Guys
wait,
really
that's not wanting flowers though. He just saying like women appreciate his time, so they be spending money on
No,
him.
she's usually when men want you and they like you and they want to be with you, she don't have to reach into her pocket. She's not the one supplying drugs, alcohol, food, dates, everything else.
And he's re-
Guys
and he's
just be
re- and
home
he's
feeding you
reciprocating that
blunts.
energy
Guys be
instead.
at home feeding you blunts. Can't cook, can't do nothing. Guys be wanting to be the female.
So
Let
why
me
is
be
it?
a passenger princess.
I
Whoa,
thought that was cute. She's the passenger princess. I thought that was classic.
man, that's a lot. It's a loaded. Whoo, this new gen is different, different, different. But let's get
So
into it.
my first question, looking at this video, do you think traditional roles have shifted in dating, primarily dating, and then we can get into relationships because
Hmm.
you know. But do you think traditional roles have shifted when it comes to dating?
Yeah, I mean, and they should shift. Like, if you notice, a lot of things shift, like the economy shifts. Um, you know, men and women are starting to earn equal pay, and in a lot of instances, women are earning more than men. So, you have a lot of women out here who have like highly, highly, highly professional positions, and it's almost like what can you do? Like, okay, let's say for example, there's a gentleman who works for like Amazon. Got a decent job, making 26, $27 an hour. He's able to hold it down for himself. You
Yeah.
know, but to have to take care of somebody like his lady is a lawyer. Let's just say she's handling business as a defense lawyer. That's they're on completely different spectrums. I don't think it's too much to ask if she picks up the tab every once in a while. You know,
Okay.
she's in a different economic bracket. So, and I would think it would be kind of disrespectful to expect this man who's working at Amazon, what I'm saying? Again, not in somebody's pockets, but it's kind of like, yo, I'm over here making like 500K a year. Like I can pick up a tab or two. Like I'm not saying that they should be completely flipped. I'm just saying that a partnership is a partnership. Like that's
Mm,
how I look at it. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like we both work hard, we can both spend the same. It doesn't always have to be me opening my wallet. Yes, I get it. Like 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, that was a thing for men to always bless the woman. And you can still bless a woman with your time. But now that the economy has shifted, I don't think there's an issue with women kind of being in that position as being the breadwinner, but also head of household. That's cool. Like I don't think there's anything disrespect. That's not saying that a man can't still be a man. He can't still be a provider. He can't still be the
yeah.
king of the castle. But that don't mean that you have to be the provider either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to me,
Mm.
that's just my personal opinion. So I think it shifted because the global economy has shifted. Like it was always going to be like this. Women were not going to be behind the stove forever. Like my grandmother didn't work. She never did. My grandfather owned a business. He took care of everything. But that was tradition back then. And that was expected. But as things started to shift and women actually started to work and get out and do things and not just be stay-at-home women and take care of the kids, it was obviously going to go in that direction. And then once education came into play, you started getting
Yeah.
women who was just killing it in college, and they were just being educated, and they was being paid for what they were doing in college. I mean, we're all on an equal playing field now. Like there is no there's no silos anymore. There's no like family dynamic silos. Like those silos have been broken down. Those barriers have been broken.
So what about like, let's just say the first date, and he's asking her out on a date.
Hmm.
Because she's a lawyer, is the expectation that she contribute to the date, or is the expectation that he contributes 100% because he
No,
initiated?
if you initiate the date and you initiate, coming together, I feel like that person, like you putting it together, it's almost like if you plan this event, you telling me where we're going, I don't even know where we're going. Then yeah, like I feel like the expectation should be, homie, you ask her out regardless of what your economic situation is. And let's say he don't even know that she's a lawyer yet. Like let's just say like that conversation hasn't even been had. But I do
Mm,
think if you initiate it, then that the tab does kind of fall on you. And I think that's reasonable, because if you don't know what Shorty's position is, because we may not even get to that point yet. I could have met her in the store. We could have met in the grocery store in line. And we could have exchanged numbers then. We could have been talking for maybe like a day or two. I'm like, hey, what you doing for lunch? Let's
mm.
go to X, Y, and Z restaurant. You know, I would assume the expectation since I'm initiating it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, okay, you got you going you got that bill, right? No, I don't think it's like that. I just think that as we get into the relationship aspect of it, as we start dating more and more, and as we start
Mm.
getting more serious, it's okay to split things. I mean, I would just say like in my family dynamic, like we go to this one Mexican restaurant every Friday. It's kind of like our family thing. That's what we do. Like
Yeah.
every other week, the other person's paying. So like this week is my week, say to pay for everything. But that's how we do. Like we like to do that because we get paid on opposite weeks. So it's like, you know what? I just got paid. Let me go ahead and handle this. And there's even times where it's not even on the pay week. One of us may pay. And sometimes we might go 2-3 weeks in a row where somebody pays. But again, we don't even like really think about like who should pay or who should not pay. It's just kind of like, hey, I got it today. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really not even established. Like we just, as soon as they bring the check, it's like, I got it. Don't worry about it. But it's okay if the other person, if they pick up the tab.
The
It
tab.
is. It's fine.
So with the concept of women acting like men and men acting like women, right now it's a huge thing with, female in the masculine energy. How has that contributed to, or what's the impact on relationships now? Like, I know you briefly discussed how you you understand now that there are female heads of the households. Do you
Mhm.
think that, what kind of impact does that have on the family dynamic? Because men tend to be leaders.
Mhm.
Their natural instinct is to be
Mhm.
leaders, head,
Facts.
provider, protector. But now, if we have the woman shifting into this more masculine energy, what kind of impact does that have on the relationship?
Well, you just kind of said it. Like I think it depends on the relationship.
Mm,
Because you can still be a man, be a leader, and still cook. You can still clean. I mean, one of my best friends, like
facts.
his wife works. He's a stay-at-home dad, but he's taking care of the kids. He's dropping them off at school. He's doing everything that you would expect someone to do who's taking care of the house. And he's still the king of the house. Like he still makes the decisions, even though he's not quote unquote the one who's working. But he's still like he cooks. Like when she comes home, like he's cooking. He's
Yeah.
washing clothes, all that. But that don't mean that he's any less of a man
Man.
than me or than anybody else. Like he's handling his business the way that he should be handling it. I think if you go off and to the complete left and you say, I'm just gonna let her do everything, then that's when you kind of like step into that world of eh, that's when it flips and you're not being a man to me. Because I feel like a man should be providing and taking care of. You can provide in
Mhm.
so many different, it doesn't have to be financially providing. You can
Right.
provide. You can be a stay at home dad who's homeschooling. I know those men too. You know, I, it roles have changed only because of how we see ourselves has changed
Selves.
because and we're comfortable now in our skin to where we can say, yeah, I cook for my wife, or I drop my wife off at work, or I pick up the kid. Like you see men now with a schedule, like they going to the grocery store while the kids are in school, getting it's
That's
okay though. Like that's not a bad thing. Like it's really not. It depends on what makes your family structure work and what
work.
makes those individuals happy. That's what it boils down to, regardless of what role you're playing. And you can still be a man through all of that. You can still be the whole, you can still keep the toolie in your waist. If somebody pulls up on some foolishness, I guarantee you that man is going to step into that man role again. He's going to protect his family. That's what it's all about. It's making sure your family is good, making sure your wife is smooth, regardless of who is the breadwinner. To me, being a breadwinner today is irrelevant. Yeah, I mean, as
Mm,
far as like how families are now, it because like it depends on your career. Like if you decided to be a dentist, I'm in
mm.
IT. Like most likely, you're going to end up making more money than me at some point, and that's okay. But it's all about your career, but also it's how you communicate within the framework of your relationship.
So that goes into my next question, and my next thought was, because we're now seeing family dynamics with this non-traditional roles. So do you just step in and it just works itself out, or you sit down and you communicate, hey, I got this, you got
Hmm.
that, like where does it come in? Is it just automatically natural and it happens?
I don't think it's natural. I think that is um, a joint decision when stuff like that happens. And I always look at my best friend's situation as that. He didn't decide just not to work. you know, they kind of came to the decision like they were doing well enough, and it's like, look, like a mortgage is low, cheap,
Mhm.
everything is paid off. Like let's I, let me. I'll take care of everything. I'll go
Okay.
ahead and shut it down, retire, and you can continue to work. I mean, but that was like a family decision for them. It could have been
Right.
reversed. He could have decided to keep it moving, but he was like, look, he wanted to have a more like connective relationship with his kids because when he was working 10, 11 hours a day. So he
Mhm.
felt disconnected from his children. So that was his decision. And he felt like it was necessary for him to be closer to his kids. And there was a lot of things that he wanted to teach his kids, like woodwork, just all, how to survive without needing things like electronics. So everybody's different.
Yeah.
And what meant more to him was spending time with his kids. That doesn't make him less of a man to me. I respect that. It makes him more of a man to me because he feels the burden of having to take care of his kids, and he wants to make sure that his kids are going to be smooth as they get older. So he wants to be a complete presence in their lives, not just a part-time presence.
Not part-time.
And sometimes when we work a lot, we don't realize the damage that we're doing to our children. I have to tell
Right.
myself that all the time. Like I have to make sure, hey, let me make sure I devote X amount of time to my child every day because it's
Every day.
necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Um, to wrap this up, my last question,
Hmm.
and also to the chat, do you think that how women perceive courting versus how men perceive courting is different? Because I'm seeing a lot of videos out here how women feel they should be courted, and men are coming back and refuting some of what they're saying. Is there a difference in how we view we should be courted?
There's definitely a difference. And I feel like when you're a man searching for companionship, a lot of times when you're in heavy pursuit, you end up targeting the one who's not right for you, you
Oh,
know, and we always hear about women complaining about what they not getting, but then you have good men out there who want exactly what you want, but you're not even willing to take the leap to go chase that man. And again, I feel like opportunities are not going to come to you. You have to chase opportunities. I tell my employees that all the time. It's like if you want to get a promotion, if you want to move up in this company, you have to aggressively pursue that. I can help you get there. But if you just sitting back, not taking your opportunities, then that's on you. And I feel like that's sometimes what women don't understand about men. We're not saying that we won't court you, but it's kind of like if you see something that you want, go ahead and try. But when you complain about what you're not getting, but you're also not willing to take a step of faith or a leap of faith and just try to pursue a man, then you got it backwards to me. And I feel like sometimes we get stuck in these ways that where we feel like, maybe you heard the story of your mother or your grandmother saying, "Oh yeah, Charlie pursued me. He did, and that kind of gets in some of these females' heads, and they feel like it should be done that way. Or they'll see the Meg the Stallions of the world, the Cardi B's, but if they really paying attention, they're doing it in a very toxic manner. Like their situations always end up toxic. Somebody
Yeah.
get they somebody get their toe blown off or something because they in a toxic situation. So but to avoid those situations, I feel like it's okay to pursue a man. It's okay.
See,
You know,
I view it a little differently because I feel like we are to choose who approaches us. And I feel, and this is the traditionalist in me,
that it's
that
it's not wrong to
that
think of it that way.
if I am being pursued, I know this man is going to, assuming, this is going to lead to a romantic relationship, that this man is going to do the same in the relationship, lead in the relationship. And I
Mhm.
feel sometimes if I have to pursue you, I don't know if this is the way you're going to be in the entire relationship, expecting me
Mhm.
to be the lead and pursue and, you know, uh manage the family as such. And so sometimes it's hard for me to, and I've honestly, I have never pursued a guy. And
The-
maybe I should have, but I just feel like sometimes if I am doing the pursuing, how do I know this person is really interested? And how do I know that that is what's going to be the expectation for the relationship?
you just said the key point. You said, "How do I know?" That's the vetting process. It's no
True.
different than interviewing. Just because you pursue don't mean that you have to go in that direction. It's just like you're just vetting. It's like, hey, I kind of like what I see. Like, you exchange information, y'all end up talking. It may not work out, but one of them it may, because again, not all people have the radar on. You could pursue somebody, and the dude could be very interested in you, but his radar may not be on. He could be, inundated with like some stuff. Something might be on his mind. Work. It happens. Like there's a lot of people who just don't be paying attention. Women too. They
Do
may
men
not
like to be
know.
pursued?
I would assume men do like to be pursued. I mean, why wouldn't anyone like to be a catch? Regardless. Like, would you feel like, okay, like, you know, like Shorty's feeling me, like, but I get what you're saying, because you don't want to get into a situation where you're the aggressor and then you end up having somebody who is just gonna be like, oh well, I'm gonna let her carry the pistol and protect me. Like I get that. Like you don't want that either. But that's part of the vetting process. Like you have to vet the people that you want to deal with, because you can still keep your standards. You can still want to be pursued, and you can always flip it. Just because you approach him first,
Right.
that doesn't mean he's not going to return that favor and going to be hitting you up all the time. Like Les, like I'm listen, like I had a great time yesterday. Can we kick it again? Then that turns into him starting to be the aggressor and
That's
asking you, let's let's go out. Like, let's kick it. Can I meet your family? That type of stuff. Like you'd be surprised, like it will eventually like come back around full circle. So that's why I said the chasing part, I think people should like get that out of their head. To me, I look at it as networking. I look at it like, look, you know, I'm trying to see what you're about, because you don't just have an open mind. That's basically all I can say when it comes to
It's funny you say that because I think with everyone, the women versus men's perception of courting, I think with all this chaos and all these videos going around, I think we have lost sight of the purpose of dating.
that.
And you
The
you
vet.
you simply said it's to vet the person to see if they are going to meet your standards to be in a romantic relationship.
Hmm.
I think we as a people have lost sight of the purpose of a date. And I think people really aren't interested in dating for real, as
Hmm.
opposed to somebody who just, in it to win it
Mhm.
for the night, whether
Yep.
that be, to go home with the person or to get a free meal.
Mhm. I mean,
And I
it
think
it's
that's
it's not even
tainted the
really.
whole dating world too.
That's a great point because it's not even really like it's not it's not advertised as a good thing to date now.
Mm,
Because we live in a microwave society. Everything's got to be oatmeal. Everything's got to be instant. Everything's got to be popcorn. We want everything like right now.
yep.
Nobody wants to let the cake bake. And I feel like there's a process to getting to know somebody, regardless of who steps to who first. It's still a
First.
process because somebody can step to me and be like, and after 5 minutes of conversation, I'm like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? That could happen. Like, so I feel like that, you know, getting to know someone and dating them and just finding out like what makes them tick, what motivates them. Like, you want to make sure that you kind of like find out where they have some rough spots first. You know what I'm saying? Like, I the outside, that's your first that's the billboard. Like, okay, cool. This person looks nice. Like, I'm wooed. But now I need to see like what's on the inside. Like, I need to find out like where the issues are. And if this
Are.
person has
Mhm.
issues, can I deal with those issues? If I can't, I might have to move on to the next.
Deuces.
Hmm.
All right, let's jump on this next topic because we got a couple more videos we want to speak to. So let's take a listen to this video first.
An open relationship. And I'm not the kind of woman who's like, oh, my husband should never look at he never looks at another woman. I assume that Alex looks at other women because he's a man. Like, that is what men do. Like, we're humans, right? That's a human thing. And I think what I subscribe to is that if you want a relationship to last, then you have to create more reasons to stay with the person than to not, because there's always reasons not to be with somebody. Freedom, autonomy, you want to go bang other people, whatever it is. We have all these human instinctual things that are pulling us in one direction. Can you create more reasons within your relationship to stay with that person? And I think what happens in a lot of relationships, they just don't have much of an argument. It's like, cool, we like each other and that's it. Like, I could go 10 other people. And then there's nothing else in common. They're not on the same mission. They have nothing else to argue. So when things are hard, your mind is going to go, why am I with this person? I have a million reasons why I'm with Alex. The thought of exiting doesn't even cross my mind because there's so much overwhelming evidence as to why it makes sense to stay.
She was throwing
So
darts.
go looking into what are your thoughts on that you both should have compelling reasons to stay in a relationship?
I mean, that's how you can make relationships work.
Mm,
Because again, like we said earlier, everybody's not perfect. There's going to be some rough spots, you know what I'm saying, that you can't smooth those out. And that's okay. Like, again, God made us all unique in our own way. So, um, you it depends on what you're willing to tolerate. And like she said, like when you make that list about somebody, like the reasons why I'm with you and the reason why I'm staying with you, there's more on the reasons why I'm with you than the reasons why I wouldn't want to be with you. Because everybody has a reason why you just wouldn't. Everybody has something you don't like about them. It is what it is. It don't mean that they're a bad person. It just means they might have a quality that just is a
that
red
just
flag, but they don't
mm,
have enough of those red flags. It's not enough of a red flag to be like, oh, I don't want to be with that person, because they
mm,
have enough on the opposite side to where it's like, the other stuff doesn't really bother you anymore, especially when you've been with people a long time. Like, you really do learn to get over that. That's why they said the first few years of marriage is always the hardest, because those red
artists.
flags stand out the most. And the test is being able to navigate that. But that's where the communication comes in, though, too. And it sounds like what she was saying is her and her dude, they talk. You can tell the people who talk because they're able to, again, deal with the stuff that other people can't, because they have such a ridiculous standard and they're not
Mm,
humble enough to see that they have the same warts. It's like, do you not look in the mirror and see your shit stink too? It really does.
Nobody
We're
is
both
perfect.
nobody
Nobody
is
is
perfect.
perfect.
As soon as we
Yeah.
can do that, look in the mirror and understand our shortcomings, it makes navigating those flaws a lot easier.
Like you said, we're in a microwave world where everyone wants a quick fix for something
Hmm.
and no one wants to put in the work.
The work, the time,
And
the effort.
you start having these compelling reasons. Those are the things that you need to go back to when you have these dips in
Hmm.
your valleys, because you're not always going to be on this mountain.
Mm-mm.
Again, relationships have ups and downs.
Hmm.
Favorite song, can you stand the rain? Can you
Yeah, right.
stand being in this storm that's hitting us
Hmm.
right now? And you have to have something to go back to.
Hmm.
Why did I marry this person in the first place? Why am I interested
Hmm.
in this person? And sometimes you just have to remind yourself the reasons why you are with them, and know that whatever you're dealing with at that time will pass, will
Hmm.
definitely pass. So, do you think it's important that you have shared goals
Hmm.
and values? Or, you know,
That's the
you
key.
have yours, she has hers.
Hmm. Yes, ma'am. Shared values. I mean, you said it. I mean, we talk about it all the time. In our group chats about having like shared cultural values because it means a lot.
Right.
Like somebody who ain't grow up in the church, man, it's hard for me to really like. If you
Mm.
don't have faith, it's hard for me just to be like, well, you're not willing to stand in the rain then, because that means you willing just to quit. But when you have faith and you've gone through it and you opened up that Bible and you pray, like, 'cause when times is hard,
Yeah.
you, those are the folks that, what I'm saying, like, at least for me, the values have to be there like that, because I got to make sure somebody's willing to ride or die, because I ain't perfect. So you gonna have to be willing to stand in the trenches with me, and if you got faith, then we can get through it.
I mean, you said before, it's a partnership.
It's a
We're
partnership.
in this to build this family, to build up these
Hmm.
children ourselves. How are we gonna get there? If you going down this path and I'm going down this path, why are we even together?
Hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's okay to have your own personal goals, but
Oh
y'all
yeah,
also should have some shared
family goals.
goals.
Hmm.
And what I learned in my marriage was that I assumed that we had this shared goal. It
Mm.
wasn't until we actually sat down and talked, like, "Well, where do you see our family at in 5 years? Like, what do you want to do?" I had no clue until I had
Listen.
asked him, because I just assumed we had the same thing, had the same goal.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's so important that you communicate. Man,
Preaching.
it's so important.
Hmm.
What what are your thoughts on, is it natural for people to be attracted to others even when you're in a relationship?
Oh my God, that is a loaded question. I think this has so many layers, because I'm gonna say it like, the attraction could be something as small as um like being a curator. Um, you know, somebody who just gives phenomenal advice. Like, I feel like attractions don't have to be romantic. They don't even have to be, they can just be plutonic. They can just be, you can be attracted to somebody's friendship. Like, you really can, because
Yeah.
It could be somebody that you, I don't want to say confide because confide sounds gross at times. But it can be somebody who just gives you uh a perspective. Let's say it that
Okay.
way. And you
Okay.
can be attracted to that. It don't mean that you want that person though. So I think attraction really should be qualified and put in a box to where we're saying now if you're attracted to somebody and you're willing to step outside of your situation, that's
Mhm.
different. That's not an
Yeah. Yeah.
attraction
Yeah.
at all. I don't feel like that's an attract that's something different, you know. But you can be attracted to somebody for a various different reasons. Now, I'm not naive enough to say that people aren't attracted to somebody because they looking for. I feel like if you're attracted to somebody because you see them as a man, if my situation don't work out, I can always go over here. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Then you got issues at home. But if you attracted to somebody because you feel like this person can help me get to a place to where I can be a better person, so, anything like that. I feel like that's okay. But once you start digging into the weeds of
Acting
okay,
upon it.
you
Yeah.
acting
Yeah.
upon, that's why I said like we got to qualify attraction. We really do. Because
Hey,
you could
but
you could be attracted to somebody's business acumen, and you want that person to kind of be your mentor. Like I'm saying there's a lot of reasons you can be attracted to what someone does.
does.
I call it fandom. You can be like a fan
Hmm.
of what somebody's doing.
On the physical side, I agree that I understand men are men. And if a
Mhm.
beautiful woman passes by, of course, my husband's probably gonna look.
God gave him
But
eyes.
but he's respectful about it. Like he ain't gonna be like,
Yeah,
he
that's what I'm
his
saying. He ain't
eyes,
over
he gonna
like,
pop them eyes open. I know. I've seen him. And then he gonna turn right back and look straight
mhm.
forward again. I think we as human beings, it's just natural for us
Oh yeah.
to
I mean,
be able to identify, it, and I'll be like, oh, she was pretty. But yeah, and
none
I
of us
don't get
are
mad
dumb.
if I catch
Yeah,
him, taking a peek. But he
none of us are
knows
dumb.
where to draw the line. Like
Oh,
there is a line
absolutely.
to
I
be
think
drawn.
it on both sides. Like, listen, when you have an open enough relationship to where you can like kind of like talk
Mm,
about that.
yeah.
Listen, I told you we was just on that cruise, and I'm just sitting here seeing these like swole ass dudes on the beach. I'm over like I know my wife is looking at one of these ninjas. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't a dummy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they see a dude walking around like with his chest out. You know what I'm saying? Like they trying to be seen, like with the what they call them, the almost like the boy short briefs. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
barely
yeah.
got
Yeah, they trying
even
to be
anything on.
seen.
He
They
trying to
trying to
be
be
seen,
seen.
man. But I know she's looking, and that's okay. But I know she would never do anything disrespectful. So I
Right.
never trip over stuff like that. I mean, when we talk about physical beauty, there's a bunch of exotic looking people out there.
Mm,
Um, when I went to Colombia, I told my wife, I was like, man, it was so many exotic people out there, women. I was like, my God. But I wasn't out there like, oh, I have to now got to move to Colombia. No, it's like it's just when you go somewhere and it's something that you're not used to seeing like that, it's exotic. But that don't mean I'm like, whew, baby, I'm gonna leave you now because I done seen something that I don't see in the States. No, it's not that serious. You know, I insecurity is what comes in and starts really impacting
mm.
relationships when it comes to that. Because I'm like, look, who am I coming home with again? Thank you. Like, let's not even have this conversation. Like, when you
Women,
establish that up
we
front,
just naturally insecure, and it
y'all so competitive,
takes
man.
a
Like, it's
lot. it takes a lot for us to build that up and recognize,
Mm-hmm.
who we are and who you are, and
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge and embrace the relationship that we have, knowing, you know what I mean? Like,
It's
they're not
natural
gonna veer
emotions.
off,
I mean,
you
we
know?
all do the same thing. Like, again, especially like if I'm talking to her, like, hey, I know I need to get back in that gym. I'm trying to do some things. The next thing you see a dude 6'2", 6'3" walking through swole. It's like, I just had a conversation with her about this, and here comes this Negro like prancing around, Debo out here. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like it makes me lightweight feel some type of way. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I know who she
Yeah,
coming home with.
yeah.
You know, but I get it. We all get it. It is what it is.
You got them compelling reasons. That is how you build that up. Them compelling reasons. I know he not gonna go nowhere because we got this family thing.
Mm-hmm.
We in this together. I'm with him because of X, Y, and Z. She's with me because of X,
Mm-hmm.
Y, and Z.
Facts.
All right, let's
Facts.
let's wrap this up with our last video we want to react to. I thought this was very interesting because this is the first time I had seen a video that spoke to what I have been speaking about for a long time. And actually, one of my shorts that I clipped from a discussion we had about this previously, it just kind of blew up because a lot of people had comments and couldn't understand why I was thinking and the way that I was. Now there's someone who's saying the same thing I was saying. Let's check out this video here.
The idea that women might have to learn some skills and acquire some knowledge and change their behavior in order to get what they want from men is ludicrous, if not offensive, to the majority of Western women. And to be fair, women probably don't have to earn a PhD in men, mostly because men are far less complicated than women are. Men are often oversimplified, like it actually takes more than sex and a sandwich to win us over, but they are far, far simpler than women. So women wouldn't need to devote several years of study to understand men, but they could get a certificate in men, like an associate's degree in men. That's reasonable. Like some period of dedicated study would probably be helpful, even if it's significantly shorter than men's equivalent course. And why is this study required? Because just like the pickup artists, women can learn what words, what tones, what actions, what behaviors work in order to increase the likelihood that men will be interested in giving them what they want.
So, do you think women need to study and kind of excel in whatever skill level to get what they want, or not necessarily get what they want, but to understand the man? Is that necessary?
I think it's necessary on top of just having an open mind. Because I think women, more so than men, go into a situation expecting a man to be a certain way and not really open a lot to understanding a man can also be a good man, but do it a different way. I feel like sometimes there's that fairy tale scenario that women be looking at times, and they want a certain path. It's like there's a yellow brick road they want to walk down, and they don't understand it might be a red brick road that might
Mm.
lead you to a better place. And I think if there's opportunity for women to kind of like broaden the mindset of let me see how this may work, and just not have such a definitive mindset going in like this is the type of man I have to have,
Mm.
then I think they would be so much more successful getting what they want. Because men don't. Like, we kind of go into a situation like, all right, I'm gonna see what it do. because we don't know. Like, I'm not smart enough to know how a woman's going to be, and I don't know all the time. Yeah, I have an idea of like what I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
a lot of times, sometimes we go into situations and we get woke up like, wait a minute, like I didn't think that I would be with somebody like this. Like, like my woman's from the country. I never thought I would have a country girl, like at all. Like that never came across my. But I'm like, man, this is like kind of cool, like this is all right. I feel like if women went into situations like that with no real expectations and just kind of like letting the cake bake, like I've been saying, like just let it develop and just see how it goes. It's okay to say, I'm good. Like we can still, if I see you, we dap up, but I feel like women try to force too much, force things that may not be there, and just let that man be a man. And that kind of sometimes makes a guy standoffish. And when we talk about somebody looking for something else, he might be like, well, she's not giving me what I want because she's expecting me to be a certain way. That's not me. Like, he might be like your boy Rock. He might be the trash man. You know what I'm saying? Like he might want to just be a sanitation worker. It's okay. You don't have to tell him, well, why don't you look into doing this? Or why don't you go back to school no, he wants to be a sanitation. Like let him do what he does. That's what makes him happy. And once I think once women get to that point, I do think they would find much more success than what I see some of them in situations now. It could be a generational thing. I want to be clear there. It could be a generational thing because I feel like older women are a little bit more patient because I know my mom is patient. Like I would never think like how my pops is and how my mom is. Like how I know my mom is bougie. I'll just say it. I would never think that she would get a dude like my dad because she's bougie. But they work because they're polar
It
opposites.
works.
But I
Yeah.
feel like she's patient enough with my dad and knows like, okay, he's cool. He gives me everything I want because he's a great guy. And I feel like if women have that perception and that they don't live in reality sometimes, at least the new ones don't, because they expecting you're expecting a steak. When I say steak, I'm not talking about with every meal. I'm just saying like in
Right.
general,
Right.
like everything for you has to be roof Chris because that's you went into it with that mindset, you know, and it's like no, like that man might not be at the level that you think that you want him to be at for whatever reason, but spiritually and mentally he might be exactly what you need. I
Mm.
just feel like women should be more open. Just have more of an open mind. That's all.
I agree. We should go to school and learn the man
Learn.
because I can't. Was it Dr. She was on Cam Newton's show. She talked
Oh
about
yeah.
these
Mhm.
fairy tale expectations that women have.
Just said that. Like
And
it's not
so I
living in
think
reality.
it kind of goes hand in hand if we learn about the man. Like what what is so wrong with going to a school to learn about a man, to learn how they think. Men tend
Hmm.
to be more strategic leaders, whereas women
Hmm.
tend to be more tactical.
Yep.
Not all of them, but they do. And what is the harm in learning about that? You go to learn to be a nurse, you go
Hmm.
to learn to be a mechanic. Why
Hmm.
can't you learn to be about to learn about the man and his
Hmm.
expectations? I mean, we have
Hmm.
African American history, and at my alma mater, Purdue, boiler up, y'all. There was white girls in my African American studies
Because she
class
wanted to know
because
about
they
it.
wanted to know about black people. So
Hmm.
what's so wrong with trying to learn about
It's a great point.
who a man is?
Hmm.
What drives men? What is their natural inkling and ability? Um, I know a lot of people, oh, you should force that. I'm not saying force it. I'm like,
Yeah.
get a certificate if that's what you want. if that class was available, I would have immediately took it. So I could be like, man,
Mhm.
I'm about to flex on these chicks and
Mhm.
have all the dudes come in to
Mhm.
my yard,
Because you
and,
would
and,
have
and
the
you know why?
certificate.
Because I know
Mhm.
I know what this man wants. I know what this man
Mhm.
likes. I would flex hard on him.
Anybody would. Like, men would do it too. Like, if we had the blueprint for women,
Mm.
we'd be out here like Shallow Hal trying to trying to get the doctor up a serum, and like we would know. But it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, on both sides, we need to understand each other better. I
Yes.
just feel like, again, women just have this fairy tale that they feel like they have to pursue. And it's like, you know what? I believe just in living in reality. Nothing about this world today is fairy tale. Like, it's very, very different. Uh, I mean, you got different genders playing sports. I mean, like, everything is different today. I feel like you have to learn to be flexible. You talked about that, and to be able to navigate some of these things, some of these pitfalls that we have culturally in our society. And part of that is learning. The reason why we have so much stratification from a political perspective, because no one wants to sit at the table and just understand, like,
Understand.
how can we meet in the middle? Because we're obviously split. We don't have to be split if we're willing to learn, and both men and women should be willing to learn and come to the table. All it takes, we've been saying it all day, is just communicating, a good conversation. Don't mean we have to agree on everything. You don't have to agree on everything, but we just said it as well. There's things that we don't have to agree on. That's a very small list, but there's probably a big list of things that we do agree on, and we can make it work.
Right.
Everything is workable if we're willing. You just gotta have faith, and you just gotta have faith that this man can work for you. He don't have to be Michael B. Jordan. He don't have to be. If you look for Michael B. Jordan, that ninja don't exist. There's only one of them. You're not gonna find that.
Yeah. 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 I
He's struggling too.
You
Like,
know,
listen to him
for us,
talk.
sometimes that's hard to swallow. And it's funny because most of our expectations or quote unquote standards is like a learned behavior.
It's learned
It's
behavior.
based off of, what our upbringing was like,
Hmm.
and if you didn't have a man in the household, it's hard for you to know what it looks like to have a man and know that there's not always going to be, Mary Poppins Day in the family. Like mom and dad gonna fight ever so often. You know what I'm
Man,
saying? Argue. Um, and if all you see is what's on Disney and they're, pushing, Prince Charming is gonna come and get you this
and sweep
glass,
you off your feet.
you about to live in this, castle with people serving you.
Hmm.
It's not realistic.
That ain't reality.
But that's all you know, or that's all
Hmm.
that you see. And so it can be hard for women to disconnect our perceptions of what a man should look like, what a
Hmm.
family should look like if we have not been immersed in it. You and I have been very
Yeah,
fortunate to
very
have
fortunate.
be raised in a two-parent household. I thank
I,
God
I
every day for that.
I
At
thank
all.
God all the time for that.
Everybody has had that
Yes.
opportunity. Hence the reason why we are on this podcast here
Hmm.
trying to share with you tips and what's worked for us. And hopefully you can take this and apply
Hmm.
it to yourselves, to your own lives, because
Hmm.
not everybody had what we had. Um,
Exactly.
it, so I'm gonna wrap this up real quick.
Hmm.
Are men, do you agree with his statement that men are as simple as he says they are, that men are simple and
Hmm.
women are not?
Yeah, I mean, men are not complex creatures at all. I mean, we're just not. I mean, when you talk about, I mean, we're as simple can get. I mean, we pee standing up. You know what I'm saying? We there's a lot. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that we do that's very simple to how we put our clothes on. You know what I'm saying? We'll walk out the house with some sweats and a t-shirt, and we good. Like, you know, we don't have to put on no makeup. Like, there's a lot. We very simple people. Like when you talk about basic. And that's why I was saying you have women who's looking for Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan takes time to prep. The regular man
We at the
don't.
house on time. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm not saying we don't take a shower and all that type and wash our face, all that type of stuff. But I'm just saying, like, you missing out on life if you thinking like Michael B. Jordan is a standard for what you look. And that's the thing. And I'm pretty sure Michael B. Jordan don't want that. You know, he's probably looking at himself like, yo, I don't want to be the standard for what women want. I'm out here struggling too. I'm looking for love. And y'all looking at me as if I'm the perfect husband or man. But nah, like, I mean, it's all about making sacrifices, Les. And I think you said that is something that we've learned from our parents. Making sacrifices, understanding the little things that make you happy, because it's the little things that's going to keep those relationships moving. You know, we have to look past the things that we feel like we have to have, because there's some things we don't. There's some things as luxuries. There's luxuries, there's needs, and then there's accountabilities, like things that we're
Look at
accountable for.
Moses.
You know, exactly. Like I tell my son all the time, like, bro, you don't need that Nintendo Switch. That's a luxury. So when you acting a fool, that gets snatched. What you got in your hands is a luxury. Understand that. You need water. You need libation. You need food. You know, that's what you need. You need clothes. But even electricity
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
luxury if you really
Yeah.
think about it. You know, but men and
Jim
women have
about
to
to
get to
have
that
his
point.
child up in the dark with no Nintendo.
Hey, he keep doing what he's doing. That situation might really happen for him. You know.
That's funny. That's funny. No, thank you, Jammer. As
Mhm.
always,
Yes, ma'am.
again, we're gonna give it to y'all next week. Super excited about next week as well. Um, you can catch Jammer on Fresh Out
Every Wednesday,
every Wednesday.
9:30
Dope
a.m.
hip hop
Eastern, 8:30
podcast.
a.m. Central,
Yes.
6:30 p.m. Pacific. I ain't gonna name off the world clocks. So you know, if you overseas somewhere you watching, I ain't gonna be able to give you that detail.
That way.
But
Definitely.
you're in Budapest, I can't give you that time.
Yeah. Well, make sure you hit us up on the
Hmm.
social side. We love to connect to you guys.
Absolutely.
Again, get in the comment section. Let us know, were you thinking the same way we were? If not, let us know. We love to
Hmm.
hear from you. Have a great week, and we will see y'all next week.
Peace, peace, peace.